Oh no, what's going on in here? I don't even know. But anyway, hello everybody, friends and newcomers alike. My name is Douglas and welcome to the stream. Today I'm gonna be working on some comic book art and or commissions, one or the other, or both at the same time, but not really because that's impossible to do. But I'll be working on lots of art. This is an art live stream, the kind of which we haven't had in, well, in ages. But anyway, welcome to the stream, everybody. And also, hey, Stu. And it's been a while. You've been either busy with work or ill, neither of which is good. But I hope you're doing better, and welcome back. And Willow Mew, hello, and welcome to the stream. How are you doing today? And how are you doing, Choose to? Today, the lovely list of days. Unfortunately, the preview there is more vertical than horizontal because, well, comics. It's gonna be hard to show it very well in there. I'm just gonna leave it more or less. Oh, somewhere. Anyway. And Stu, you are rather dizzy today, but not too bad. Ah, that's good to hear. I mean, good to hear that you're not dying in a ditch. But being dizzy, normally there's supposed to be a reason for so, and I hope it isn't a bad one. Anyway, let me lower the volume a little bit. This is a commission I was working on. I started doing this here on the streams a long time ago. I don't even remember when exactly, but it has been quite some time. Maybe more than a month. I did only the sketch for the character. And that had been a while ago. Then recently I got back, I did the line art, and I did the rest. I did the background. All of these in the last few days I've done the background, and I really like how this one has turned out. But I still feel like I still feel kinda iffy about the colors. So I've been thinking about going back and redoing the whole shading for the character. But do it more on a nighttime kinda look. Bad thing though is that this brother here is using a lot, and by a lot I mean actually a lot of layers, which isn't super bad, but as usual, the more layers you use, the slower the whole thing becomes. And this already has a lot of layers, and with me wanting to go and do a second version, it might get even crankier. So let's go back, deleting some layers. That's so we have more or less of a clean slate with which to work with. So what I want to do here is delete these shading layers. For the background, what's this? This is the actual coloring of everything. Let's delete as well the shading. So this is just the base colors and the textures. There's some texture here in the stones to make them more stony. There's a texture here on the floor to make it look like marble. There's this dirt texture choosing some little grain over everything, more or less, to give this a dirty look. Maybe the problem with these textures is that they are too heavy as well. But anyway, also there's some layers of white just to, well, whiten out the background and make it look more distant. So it's this one. It whitens out just the background, the foreground stays the same, so it gives a little sense of depth to it all. And as for the character, there's a shitload of shading layers here. Might go and take out the yellow tones of the shading, the blue tones of the shading, and the highlights. So in the end the character is just, oh, there's nothing going on with him. And then for the character as well, there's this electricity effect going on and some highlights because of it. So there's a lot of effects going on in this guy here. There's a lot of layers, and oh, we need to delete layers we are not using. They are weighing down this whole thing. But anyway, I think we're good to go now. So, this character here, like I said, I actually like how this one turned out, but I didn't like the lighting of it, so I'm gonna change it and make it so it looks more or less like nighttime. Thing is, I'm not entirely sure how to do that because, as you guys know, I'm not the best artist out there. So let's start by fiddling with the background. Let's throw in a layer here. It's gonna be a multiply layer, I think. Maybe though we should use an overlay layer. I feel like overlay layers are pretty good at being both, as working both as lighting and as to lighten up things and to darken things. Instead of multiply layers are very, they only have one single use. So let's paint it all with a grayish tone, or maybe an even darker, kind of bluish tone. Although I don't think that a completely black overlay will do much. It darkens things, but it doesn't goes all the way like a multiply layer would be. A multiply layer would actually darken the whole thing. So I guess in the end we need to go with a multiply layer. Yeah, it really darkens things out much better. So, I don't know if any of you are familiar with Dark Souls. My main idea was to base this whole thing here kinda like off Dark Souls. As you can see, this has a very Dark Souls-esque look to it. Thing is, look as I might have, Dark Souls does not have a lot of nighttime settings going on. So I was kinda stumped looking for references on how they do lighting and whatnot. And then, only then, I remembered, like just today, earlier today, that Bloodborne does a lot of, well, Bloodborne does pretty much only nighttime settings. So I should be looking towards Bloodborne for my nighttime reference, which I'll be doing. But anyway, how are you guys doing other than that? It has been a very, I'm not sure if very long, but it has been a nice-ish weekend for everybody as far as I've heard, especially because it was Mother's Day. But in any case, how did you guys spend your weekends? How was it? We end up not seeing each other in the weekends. I'd like to know how you guys are holding up. Now here I'm gonna throw in some very strong yellow to make it look like a sunset. But then I also don't know how to do sunset, so I'm more or less guessing how it would look like. But having this one point of reference in the whole picture to know how, to know, hey, it's sunset, the sun is setting all the way down there, it gives us a little more working space with this. It becomes easier to define, hey, this is what the lighting is supposed to be, because we have this clear point of reference that is the sunset, so we know the sun is setting, so we know we shouldn't look for a sunlight source pretty much. Although maybe instead of yellow I should use a more reddish tone. I feel like some certain sunsets, they have more of a red tint than a yellow tint. Especially if you want to make things look more sinister, more dangerous. The studio was working Saturday, then went to a friend's to talk it while he was away, then spent most of the yesterday dizzy. Oh no. Oh, then your weekend wasn't that nice. Sorry to hear so, Stu. And also, hey Grizz, welcome to the stream. How are you doing today? What is up with you? So I'm throwing in some ring light at the edge of this mountain range here. Make it feel more like sunset. And even though it's not as dark as it could be, it's not awfully dark, but it's darker than it was in the previous picture, so I feel like we will still be able to do that little nighttime setting I was thinking about doing. Let's see how it goes though. And Grizz waking up getting paid today and hating school. Why so though? Let me do some Google searching for pictures of... Oh, you guessed it, Bloodborne. Although it's kinda hard, like excruciatingly hard to mimic Dark Souls aesthetic, because despite it working in the game, I think it's some shenanigans they do with the engine itself to give it that kind of lighting and yet feel like nighttime. There's no denying the people, the people from software. They're masters at making settings and mixing colors and creating ambience. They are really good at it. And that's the worst part. It's extremely hard to mimic these kind of things unless you know all the theory behind it, which I don't. So that becomes an issue. So as you can see here, there's a lot of it still feels yellowish. Still more so to the yellow side of the spectrum, the highlights, and the darker tones are more to the blue side of the spectrum. The dark blues. And the highlights on the yellow side of the spectrum, maybe? I think I have a better idea of what to do now. Of course, it's not gonna work as well, but sure. Let's hide the foreground for a hot minute or two. Let's use this color scheme though. Very dark, very not bright. Also, let's change this, because I feel like the thing that is giving me the most trouble here is the background colors themselves. They already have a yellowish tone, and no matter how much multiply layers I throw on top of that, the yellow tone that the background inherently has already makes it impossible for me to really work out with it. I have to go out of my way to mix the colors. Whereas I could make my whole life simpler by already changing the background color itself, instead of relying on the multiply layers. The effect layers. And also they have a lot What are those even? Some dark oranges, some yellow there for the sunset. So the whole sky there has this reddish tone. And this is what really sucks about this kind of things. You have to go back and repaint the whole thing in accordance to the tone. But it could be worse. It could be awfully worse. So I guess it's okay in the end. A little bit less saturated, because of course. Then brighter and then darker, but still less saturation. Let's see if I can throw in some clouds there. And Grizz, you can't seem to not be awkward. What do you mean? It's cool. Because no matter where it is pretty hard, near impossible to not be awkward. Because no color. Because awkwardness in general is a lot of things. It's one's lack of social skills, and those can be fixed by practicing. Like it or not, socialization is a skill that can be acquired and can be practiced. Of course, it takes time, like everything else in the world. It's a skill, and being a skill, it takes time to get better at that. Although the other factor in awkwardness is familiarity. Normally, when you find yourself in an unfamiliar situation, it's really hard not to feel awkward or out of place. And that, on the other hand, has very little... Well, there's very little ways of fixing that. It's not a skill. Well, that might be a skill, but it might be harder to acquire and practice the feeling comfortable in foreign, unknown places. But yeah, in general, the whole thing is really... It's not simple. But there are things you can do to try and remedy those. Let's throw down the opacity of these and throw in a little red tint to the water. Still has... Well, it doesn't has, true, but... Let's still keep it on a more or less bluish look. There we go. Now I can throw in the foreground, and now I can go back to the background layer and coloring it. I mean this layer here. So I'm gonna use dark tones of blue and not so light tones of yellow to do this. Oh, wrong color. And still, it's hard not being awkward, or at least feel like you are, especially when hit with anxiety. And Grease says that sister thinks you're odd because you're a furry, and even then she hates that. Her friends think you're odd because although you're an adult, you don't act like that at home, and she calls the shirts you wear that have designed by furries to be sexual in nature. That's not being awkward in itself, though. That's more of someone not respecting your choices and your tastes. What's going on? Divination, hello! And thank you for the raid and welcome to the stream, Raiders and Raiderettes. How are you guys doing today? In case you guys were expecting some hot gaming action, today is not the day for that. Today I'm working on some, well, I'm doing art. I'm working on the background for a piece here, and I'm not sure how it's turning out so far. Hopefully it's gonna look better when there's more things going on in it. Let's throw in the multiplier and see how this looks. It doesn't look good at all, even with the white layer. I feel like this is I don't think that this needs on the multiply layer. I think the background is already okay-ish by itself. The most it could use is a adjustment layer to make it darker, maybe have a little bit more contrast in it, but maybe a little less. I don't even know. And Chanel71 says hello to you too. And Ken Rich, hello. And oh, holy fuck! That's a raid, a Tomb Raider raid. That's awesome. And Divination just finished playing some Mario Kart. Oh, Mario Kart is fun. I don't like it, but it's fun. I'll leave this be for now. I really can't figure out how to get to working with the background right now. Let's move on to the foreground, adding some shading layers to it. Stu said, Blair, when you're at home, you don't have to act like an adult. You really think it's more detrimental to hide who you really are when at home. And yeah, home is your place to do your things and be the way you want to be. Home is supposed to be your safe haven where you can do whatever and be whoever. Well, maybe this color is a touch too bright. Okay, let's see if I can throw in some cool highlight action here in this scene. Problem though is, where is the lighting coming from? Directly I can say it's coming from it's coming from above. There, we found our lighting source. So everything the whole floor pretty much is lighting up, so we'll go with that. And now the latest Mario Kart I played was in Nintendo 64. Gee, I don't even remember which one was the last one I played. I think it was the one of the Mario Kart in the Wii. I don't remember which one it might have been though. But yeah, the last Mario Kart I played was on the Wii. And yeah, it's fun, but the problem is nobody has it. Myself included, so it's more of a party game to play when you're a house chock full of people and nobody can agree on what to play. So everybody agrees, let's play some Mario Kart, because that's something pretty much anybody can play. So it doesn't feel like a choice game, it feels like more like a let's make everybody happy kind of game. Oh, happy quote unquote. I mean, let's make everybody happy by choosing the one game nobody needs a lot of expertise to play. But anyway. In fact, I think Mario Kart might have been the... No. I was gonna say might have been the last racing game I played, like, for real. Because other than that, I can't remember any other racing game. Like it or not, they're scarce and not as good as they used to be before. I don't know if any of you ever played the PlayStation 2 Need for Speed Most Wanted. It was the last racing game I've ever played. I was like, holy shit, this game is amazing. But then again, I feel like it might have been good, not because it was actually good, but because back then it was either that or play nothing. Who knows, maybe racing games has never been that good to begin with. But anyway, I'm working on a commission. I don't know if any one of you were here within the last couple of months. If you have been here sometime within the last couple of months, you may or may not remember me working on this commission here. Although it was just the character then. Right now, afterwards, for reasons unknown, I decided to go for full credits and make a background to it as well. which might not have been one of my bestest ideas. Because first and foremost, I suck at doing backgrounds, and secondly, they are very time consuming. It's not something you go and do unless you are very confident in it. Confident not only that you can do it, but confident also in how you're gonna do it. Most of the time, the backgrounds are used to give context to where the character or the scene might be taking place in. So if the character makes sense without a background, you probably don't need one. But I've decided to go make a background anyway, because I don't know, I guess I'm not a very smart dog. The worst part is I've been trying to give this a night scene kind of look, but I cannot for the life of me figure out how to make decent enough nighttime lighting. But then of course there's no lighting in nighttime. It was supposed to be more of a full moon kind of lighting going on. But that also is pretty crazy to do. But anyway, how was your guys' weekend? Did you all celebrate Mother's Day, or did you do something else? Also, yes, this is a screenshot or something from Bloodborne, because I wanna see how the heck Bloodborne works. Its lighting schemes, that so I can have a better sense for how the heck to do this. No. Okay. There you are, shade, and then all the thousands of effect layers. They go just with the depth one. The work should be. Nope, it doesn't. It has to be white, but for it to be white, the background itself has to be darker. There's a thing I can do here. Let's try and add a correction layer, but it's going to be a level correction layer. And what we are going to do is go to the reds and say, you know what? Maybe let's tone down on the reds. So this whole thing gets a more or less of a bluish tone altogether. Or it would be great if if only knew how to work this tool. It's not a very straightforward tool to use, truth be told. Maybe another kind of correction layer would do better. Hue, saturation, and luminosity. Let's change the hue to blues. Yeah, something like this. But then comes the more worrisome part, that is, okay, the mountain range and everything is bluish, but the water is, well, yellow now. Let's edit the mask layer. How do I do this? Show my scary. Let's erase its bottom-ish part. So the mask only affects the... well, it affects everything but the water. Okay, there we go. Now the whole thing has a blue tone. It's too you're rather dizzy. What kind of dizziness is it though? Like straight up dizzy, or dizzy and migraines and something else and more things? Get to the hell with this correction layer. It's for you though. Although I'm feeling really prone to giving up on this and going back to the daytime shading I had done previously. And keep on with that one instead of trying to press this nighttime shading, which is awfully hard to do. Unless you're like amazing at colors, which I'm not. Because if you are, then you'll surely have an easier time well, doing shading and all those other things. And also, hey Oni, welcome to the stream. How are you doing today, buddy? Also, I don't think I've properly woken up already yet. A clear sign of that is that it's my inability to talk. This is good. I think it's gonna look okay. Biggest problem with this kind of layers and effects is that it's really hard to. Sometimes, no matter the colors or whatever you choose, you're only going to be able to see how well the whole thing looks once you're completely finished. Can't really these small previews in between and during the process itself doesn't really help. And only you wake up, join in, and see, and you're impressed. And good, just getting coffee made and making a mug size of cake. Oh my, I would like some cake. Cake is fun. Most of the times, at least. Sometimes it's not that fun. Oh yeah, I don't have much else to say. That's why I'm so quiet. I'm focusing on this. Regretting many life choices. As usual, if you guys have anything you wanna say, if you wanna ask something, feel free to. I'll do my best to answer. If you would rather just lurk around, that's okay as well. Anything goes in this wacky world of ours. But in any case, Divination, if you're still there, which Mario Kart were you playing? I think the last one they released was Mario Kart 9, was it? And Oni, call me crazy, but your connection is 100% and showing the art stream. And sure, you're crazy then. Still Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for the Switch. Nipter says hello. Hello to you too, Nipter. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing today? And Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, basically Mario Kart 8.5. Sure, sounds like something they ought to do. And still, you sorry finding it hard to focus. No worries, Stu. I mean, if you need to go, and lay down, rest, or take a break from the stream, no worries. As long as you're healthy, that's what matters the most. And we'll be here for quite some time, so go take care of yourself. Go get healthy and get super better, physically wise and mentally wise and atomically wise. And then whenever you feel like coming back, you're always welcome here. And also the sexy goat guy stick, yeah, he is really. I hope you got that right. It's hard to say, but it's supposed to be a bear and a goat. I'm right? A bear, goat? I think a goat, maybe a ram. I think it's a bear ram. And still, you wish you could, you'll be here, though you might be quiet. Nipter, what a nice character. Looks amazing. P.S. Just working on your second chapter on thesis report where you have to describe your work. Oh, well, that's the problem of working on this picture that is extremely heavy by this point, computer wise. Every time it stops to save, it saves a lot of data, so saving takes longer and longer, more work on it, which sucks. But anyway, I'm pondering and wondering how this is looking so far. Because one thing I've found is that I can't balance myself when it comes to lighting effects. Either I overdo it or I don't do it enough. So I'm having to push the contrast between these deep tenderoos. Well, you know what? I think the night version looks alright-ish, but I don't like it. I might go back to the daytime version. I think it was already done. There's just some adjustments left to do to make sure the colors look alright, and then then it'll be awesome. And only screw your health. Your health is all over the place each day. And still you cannot balance yourself at all. But you should be able to. That's what cat does. Cats does, isn't it? And anyway, let's go back to the daytime sketch. See, it's already done, it's already working, it's already finished. Everything looks awesome in this. Maybe I could simply get fancy as always and throw in a correction layer on top of this. Push the contrast down a little bit or up. Maybe I cannot even do that. So pushing the brightness and the contrast. All this work. And maybe another correction layer with level corrections. Ah, this actually looks interesting. Okay, I like how this is going now. Of course, it still sucks. There's a lot of problems going on, but I like how it's looking now. And Stu, you're a defective cat. Oh no. Okay, don't need this layer. You go to the trash can. These layers can be merged, and in turn, it'll won't weigh down the computer as much. This layer here, it can also go to the trash can. Bye bye. As for background layers, these and these layers are not needed. They can go. This layer is too much. It can also go. And so is this layer here. So this can go, and this, what the heck is it doing even? Well, it can go in any case. The less layers I have going on in here, the better. Maybe these electricity highlights in here are too much. Maybe they could be a little less. Except if I make something like this. I double them. So I can make the hand one become something like 25 because it's too bright. And the one on the rest of the body a little bit more, a little bit brighter. So I can balance it. There we go. Looking awesome. And the sword was also supposed to have some runes or whatever. Let's see if I can find them. Only it occurred to you, if you make a cake in a mug, doesn't that makes it a cupcake? No, it makes it a mug cake. Or at least I would hope it does. I don't know how food works. I don't know how most things out there work. Truth should be told. So now, let's open the reference layers because I hope it's here somewhere. Hard to tell though, what are these many references? There's a shitload of them in here. Oh, what do you know? The one I need isn't here. Oh, so you can go. I don't need you anymore. The reference I wanted is this? Is this it? I think it is. Perhaps. Hopefully. And Stu said, but the mug is a cup. I wouldn't know that. And also, Ben, what's up? I'm working on commissions. What about you? Welcome to the stream. How are you doing? What's your morning? What's up with you so far? Oh, cell phone, please don't vibrate. Not on the table. There's a microphone there. It might fuck everyone's ears up if you keep vibrating like that. Worst of all, it's... Holy shit, so many notifications going up. How do I do this? Okay, there you go. Don't disturb mode. Thank you. Oh! And Stu, the ceiling. Whatever is up for you can't tell up from down, from left from right. Oh, that sucks. And the idea was supposed to be some runes in here, like some magical electricity runes, but well, the person didn't supply me with any, so I might as well go and make anything up. Let's Google for that. Magical runes. Maybe I'll find something here. So of course there's some classical Celtic runes. Norse runes. Sure, whatever, go. What's this? There's so many here in the internet though. Oh man. Let's look for Skyrim language. Yeah, the dragon language. Those are some cool looking runes. Also there's the Daedric runes. Oh man. Welp. Let's find a shitload of reference, load it in and do things through it. That's how art is done, lovely boys and girls. Oh, so... I think this is it. Well, let's go. And only the Bork Souls. I don't know what you're talking about. Ben, you're at work after a long weekend of moving. You're right now at your new place, so yay! Hooray indeed! Welcome to your new home. I hope you like it there. Okay, so there's the dragon language from Skyrim. There's the Daedric language from Oblivion, theoretically I think. And there's these random ass runes somebody else did in another thing. So what should we write in this? I don't even know. Storm. Storm is a nice little name. For a sword. So let's pick the runes from the dragon language. For S. For D. Then for O. For R, then for M. Oh, what do you know? I actually know how to spell storm. Haha. I'm a smart dog. Speaking of Skyrim, the other day I got to play Skyrim on VR. It's fucking awesome. Fucking weird as shit though. I suppose that Skyrim VR, well, it obviously is a port of the game itself, but the port feels weird because the proportions and dimensions of the characters just feels kind of off. Like the heads feel like they're smaller than they should be. It's kind of hard to explain, but I don't know. When you're near an actual person, you kinda can tell your proportions are more or less like their own. But in Skyrim VR, the proportions of the people's features just feels weird. I don't even know what's up with that. Okay, there we go. Storm in dragon language. Let's write Storm in the Daedric language and then mix it up. Because of course. S for sad, or however you say that. Then T for Tayem. Then Mo, then M, then R. Oh, Destiny soundtrack. Lovely. Composed by Paul McCartney and some other people. Mostly by the other people though. Ben, you vote Skyrim rooms. I know you don't like VR things, it makes your eyes hurt and your head is too big for the headset. I liked the VR things. I feel like it's too limited though. Limited as in there's not enough games out there. It feels like we're back on the Atari era of gaming. There's like one game, and that one single game is supposed to last you forever, for years until the next game comes out. But back in the Atari era and the Sega and the Nintendo era, they used to make games hard as shit. Precisely that, so you would take forever to beat it. And in that time they could make and release another new game. Like today, where they make games super easy and super casual-ish. Okay, now let's hide this and that. And let's mix it up. Let's do a good old mixeroo of things. Yeah, because like it or not, the Daedric runes are not as cool or as fun as the Skyrim one, as the dragon language ones, and they don't make a whole lot of sense either. They feel very random. Although with the Daedric language, you can almost almost make out the storm. Like the letters look like it. The cool thing about the dragon language is that it doesn't look like it at all. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna use the Daedricum. I'm just gonna use that one. This one looks good enough. So it's S, then D, then O, then R, then M. All vertical because why not? And we copy it, then we throw this randomly into this picture. And what the heck? Where the hell are you? Will you please show up? And there it is. Would you look at that? Hey, GGO Cat! Thank you so very much for the host and welcome to the stream. How are you doing today? And only Sephiroth's theme, the remaster for the Final Fantasy VII, has a rock album cover to it. I don't even know. I threw him a random. Wait, what? I threw in a random Spotify playlist for video game themes, I think, or something like that. Well, look at this. I can't make it say storm, but it's gonna look super janky. I think I'll be better off if I paint it solid black, so it's easier to see. Also, if I reduce the size like I was trying to do before, apparently we're not going to be able to fit it into the sword. So I'll need some more letters going on. So it's not gonna be just storm. It's gonna be storm something. What else can we pair with storm? Storm Rider, Storm Wielder. Maybe Storm Wielder. How do you spell that? Wielder. Yeah, Wielder. Okay, I think I got it. It's gonna be called a Storm Wielder because the idea of the character is that he has electricity powers. he's a battle mage, so he wears well, he uses a sword, but he also harnesses the powers of the electricity. So he's a thunder wizard with a sword of sorts. So I think it looks cool if the sword is also it helps him harness the powers. I feel like it makes sense. Yeah, there. Oh, at least we're gonna use D twice, so I don't need to paint it twice. Which is always cool. Not only that, but we also have an R already. We don't need the R to make an R again. And only you had Stormblight as a second option. That could also work. I don't know. And also Bones, there we go, again! With the creepy word chick. Welcome to the stream, Bones, how are you doing today? Nipter, so the character wields the sword and the swords wield the storms. I don't know. I think it would be more interesting to think that the character can wield electricity by himself. However, he has the sword, this random ass, bland ass sword, and it has been tempered with magic or whatever. And because of that, he can. The swords help him have a better control over his innate electricity powers. We out there. So it's more. So it's more like he has the electricity powers himself, but this sword only serves to help him have better control of it, like focusing. But then again, I'm making shit up, truth to be told. This isn't. The commissioner didn't send me any sort of information. He just said, hey, I'd like some runes in the sword. Can you make something up? I'm like, sure, why not? That's what I do for a living, after all. So I'm naming the thing myself. The commissioner might actually hate it, but as of now, I'm just throwing shit up there and be like, I hope it works. I hope this pleases somebody. It might as well actually make him super mad or super nah, fuck it, I hate scarring or whatever. So here's to hoping he likes it. Let's see, the thing doesn't even fit here. It barely does. Okay, there it goes. See, we could throw in like 2 more words there, like the storm wielder sword or whatever. But anyway, I think this does it. Nipter, so the character, the sword is like a catalyst. Kinda, yeah. It's more like, hey, if we're already going to combat with a sword as well, we might, with a sword, in any case, we might as well infuse it with the powers of the electricity, that so we have even more electricity power to work on. Oh yeah, I press Ctrl S, so that makes the program save, and by saving the whole thing freezes for a hot minute or 2. So in the meanwhile, I'm gonna take a quick sip of water because well, it helps me stay hydrated and healthy, and helps me keep my doggish ways. I like it or not, I need it. Okay, so this person here who made this other artwork made that so electricity is going up all over the guy's body. Awesome. Actually, let's leave it all lit up. Might as well be useful. Let's color the runes with the same color as the other drawing, because why not? So I'm gonna select this area, paint it, and there it goes. It looks like an actual enchanted sword of whoever and whatever. Let's throw in a multiply, although multiply is not a good idea. Maybe an overlay. An overlay works much better. Look at that. I'd like it to be slightly brighter though. Yeah. The good thing of the overlay is that it multiplies with the shenanigans. So it also uses the same shading that's going on down there already, which is fucking awesome. So let's I don't think I can mix them, so I'll leave them there. What I'm gonna do now is a crazy shenanigan. Let's put this back on normal. Let's select everything but the runes. Let's reverse the selection. Let's expand the selection by 3 pixels. That ought to do it. Now let's paint it with the same color. Might have to overdone it a little bit. So let's instead of doing that, let's go to selection, blur border by 3 pixels, then paint it. Okay, so now it has this softer edge effect going on. I'm gonna go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and blur by, I don't know, 20, I guess. Okay, 20 is a good number. So this looks kind of fuzzy already, so let's turn down the opacity by 50%. Let's throw in some, I don't know, add glow. I think I had glow maybe, or overlay, what works best. I think add glow, and then we turn back on the runes so they have this innate brightness to them. They are shining. Would you look at that? So this is with this effect, and this is without it. Without, it's just the runes. With the effect, they have this glow to them, so it looks cool as shit. And that one blur, hello! Welcome to the stream. How are you doing today? Nipter, enchantment. And DAO reference. I think DAO is Dragon Age Origins. If it isn't, then I don't know what the heck it is. I hope it is. So that one burr, how are you doing today? It's lovely Monday, full of, well, nothing so far, because it's 10:47 in the morning to me. I can only wonder what time it is for you guys. And if it is, awesome. I didn't get to play a lot of Dragon Age Origin. I think Dragon Age Origin, the coolest thing about it was exactly the origin. Once you finish the origin story, then you started the main game story, and the main game story lost me. But the origin stories were cool as shit. So what else can I do here? Let me check the reference. So they have this glow effect by itself, and in here maybe I can do this electricity effect a little better now that I'm slightly more aware of how it goes. The person here did the same thing as I did. Look at that. Sure, let's delete that. And let's do these over again. Full opacity. Let's take this color, bright-ish blue, and do it over again. Now with a slightly textured brush to give it a more rough look. And that one bird, you're doing alright. The runes are looking great. Oh, thank you. It's well, now the program froze again because of the saving. I think it's time to call it quits. I can't keep working on this much longer because each time I save, the program stops for solid 2 minutes. But anyway, I picked up the dragon language from Skyrim and wrote Storm Wielder, and that became these runes here. I don't even know what the dragon language is called in Skyrim. And that ought to do it. Doing much thinner lines now, because what I didn't like about the other effect I had done was that the lines were too thick. Thick might be good sometimes, but sometimes thick just isn't the way to go. And I thought it was too thick before. Also, maybe I'll also tone down on the electricity lighting effect. I think it might be adding too much, whereas we don't need as much electricity lighting going on. And you say it's you, by the way. Yeah, I think you had told me before it was your this was your username here on Twitch. But in any case, I'm super glad you're here. I kinda wanted to. I kinda wanted you to be here, so you could see the commission in action, but I figure you might have something else to do today during the day, but here you are. So things worked out in the end, which is awesome. And Nipper, you thought Tix is always good. Well, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Depends, really. There are people who can make Tick work, I cannot. Can make Tick work only in some very choice circumstances. So I disabled the layer with the electricity lighting effects. I'm not gonna delete it instead, because who knows, it might be useful in the future. But I'm not turning it back on right now. Also, I tried earlier to do the the nighttime background version. I couldn't get it to work really well though, so I gave up on it. So I decided to stick with the daytime background. I don't remember exactly what I did though, but I feel like I did something that made things look slightly better visually wise. And this is the fun, coolest thing about doing art. Is that there's no electricity generator effect in this program, so you have to do the electricity effects by hand. Which is super cool in a way, because it forces you to learn how these things work, instead of using some filter or effect or whatever. So the cool thing about electricity is that if you take a brief look at it, you'll see it branches just like trees does. They don't go in a very orderly way. They go kind of willy-nilly all over the place. And then it branches, and each branch of the electricity is slightly thinner than its previous, until it dwindles and fades. Also, I did most of this work here on this commission yesterday. And I think you guys didn't get to see was me struggling with this dragon shadow in the background there. There's a dragon shadow in the ground, by the way. Which was more or less so people could see who or what this character is fighting. Because I didn't want to just place him against this sledge and be like, okay, he's facing nothing. I threw in the shadow to say, okay, he's fighting a dragon there, or whatever. And I kept thinking, how though will I throw a dragon there without screaming there is a fucking dragon there? So I got around, did a little dragon silhouette, and then I threw in that shadow there. That's so you can feel there is a dragon, but it is not in the picture. So it's a little bit of storytelling without, it's storytelling by context, which I think works pretty well. Okay, there we go. Lighting, electricity, power. Let's now throw in a little blur filter in this. Let's see if that works. 10 of Gaussian blur filter. And add glow. Will that do a lot? No, it won't do shit. Sucks. Actually, it does a little bit, but it's barely even seeable. Actually, kinda is. You can see the lighting pops up a little bit. I feel it. Well, adds a little bit. Maybe I'll throw in back these electricity lighting highlights, but instead of leaving them at 100%, I'll tone them down a little bit. So this is them at 100% and this is them at 20-ish%. It's barely seeable, but it adds something. It feels like there's something going on there. And other than that, I think this is it. I think we're done with this commission. There's a lot going on, which in a way is not good, because I feel like maybe the background or the cliff side might be detracting a little bit from the character, so there's a lot of details and they are competing for attention. But who knows? The best I can do at this rate is throw in a blur effect to blur out things in the background. That's so only the foreground has the attention. And Ben, you said that's super thick. Remy, you said that's a nice touch. I'm glad you think so. A thing I also added to it, or rather changed because of it, is that the character's eyes at first were looking towards the viewer and now they're looking straight up forward towards the dragon that may or may not be there. Who knows? It's a incognito thing. Yeah, here I threw in some layer correction effects onto the character, actually onto everything, onto the whole picture. So this is how it was looking yesterday. Then I threw in a level correction to drown out a little of the darkest tones, so it's brighter, but not brighter because I toned up the brightness. It's brighter because there's little less black going on, and then I threw in a contrast filter correction to make colors well, they're more contrasting, so the difference between the highlights and the shadows are more accentuated. So I feel it looks better this way. I could also make sure that this only applies to the character, which could also work very well because then the backgrounds are darker, so the focus is more on the character. He has more contrasting colors on the background, which is good in a way, but who knows? But now it's time to work with the background. The foreground of the background, by the way. How do I do this? Let's mix these layers. So they're all one thing, one single thing. Let's make a double copy. Let's hide the character for a moment. Oh, fucking hell. That's not what I wanted to do. This is what I wanted to do. Okay, so now the character is hidden. All we have is the background. And the foreground, I mean. Let's blur it up and see how that looks. Yeah, let's blur it up. How will I do it though? First of all, this is the focal area-ish, where the character is and the main elements are. So this is not the area I want to focus, this is the area I want to blur. Let's deselect that column because it's closer. So I feel like I can add in some sort of depth sense by keeping this in. Or not. Let's first throw in a gigantic border blur of I think 50. Then again, because why not? Oh shit. Let's select the edges. The edges are important. And now I deselect this column. And now I throw in a blur filter. Gaussian blur, let's go with 100. How does 100 looks? Well, 100 looks blurry enough. Don't like how it looks there though. So maybe I'll select like just the far background. Let's keep these closer columns unblurred as of now, as of yet. By the way, if this looks confusing, I'm sorry. I'm not super entirely sure of what I'm doing here either. I'm more or less trying out new things to see what sticks, what doesn't. I'm trying out new things. That's the gist of it. Which, by the way, is one of the coolest things about doing commissions, in my opinion, is that depending who you are doing the commissions for, you can try out a lot of new things. So instead of limiting yourself to your already established style, you can try to you can try out new techniques and new ways of doing things and seeing. I'm pretty much trying out new styles and new ways to do things, and it's super lovely. Maybe 50 is a little too much. Let's try 25. No need if eyes face for upcoming danger. It's always up with that danger, isn't it? Okay, 20 sounds okay. Okay, so the back is blurred, but these columns, they're not as blurry. So they feel like they're closer by, which works awesomely well. Except for that doesn't work as well. Now the actual background, it was already had a blur filter on it. I think I don't need to blur it even further. I think it worked like that. Now if I throw the character back in, you can see the blurriness of the background. Which looks pretty sick. Pretty dope. Well, now maybe these effect layers, they can, not all of them have to be on the character. Oh man, I don't know. I kinda wanna use these effect layers. I don't know which looks good. I mean, which one looks better? The effect layers only on the character, or well, this is only on the character, so the background looks darker. Or if I throw it onto the whole thing evenly, is that so both the character and the background are lighter and has a higher contrast. What do you guys think? This is with the effect layers on everything, and as soon as the Clip Studio finished saving, I'm gonna show you how it looks with it only on the character. Oh well, Clip Studio, aren't you a lovely piece of software? Super reliable. And Remy, tough choice. Yeah, it is a tough choice indeed. Which is why I'm so confused. So this is with the effect on everything, and this is the effect only on the character. So the background looks darker. This is on everything. This is only on the character. But then again, since these are only 2 layers that I can turn on and off at choice whenever I want, I can always save the two versions and have them separately. I don't need to stick only to one. So long as I have the original files, I can go with whatever, whichever. But I don't know, altogether I feel like the bright one works good in a way. Niptor, you would leave it on everything. So there's another thing that I can do, which is to have it only on the character, but on the background, instead of having these whites that throws in some depth onto the background, I can take them out and have it on everything. So the foreground is brighter, but the background is darker. But not brighter and washed out with whites. It's darker a little bit. I think it works a little better. Or I toned down like a lot on this white effects for the background. Okay, I think this is the best version of them all. Okay, this works out. Character, good. Background, ish. It's okay-ish. Could be better. The facts, okay. Everything checks. Some cool ass runes on the sword, some lighting effects. You can kinda see the highlight here on both nipples, so that's okay too. The eyes look very magenta, the horns look okay. Yeah, I think it's done. This is it, you guys. We're done. And this is the nighttime version. I gave up midway. I didn't even bother to keep doing. So this is daytime, this is nighttime, daytime, nighttime, daytime, nighttime. Daytime, nighttime. Let's go with daytime. I think it's the best one. Now I need to throw in my name. Shit. I need to throw in my name. And this is because, as you know, I'm the one who made it. Hooray! I'm gonna throw in here, very on the corner. I'm gonna sign up with my name onto the marble floor. Let's write up my name. Forgot how I used to sign my works though. Okay, I only used to turn my name. By the way, this is an interesting thing. Lately, on the Discord channel, we have been talking about how well, we haven't been talking really, we just said ask people through when posting artwork from other people on the NSFW art channels to also throw a link to the original, putting a source so people know where it comes from, which helps tremendously both the artists and people who are interested in the artwork. I want to see more from said artist. And not only that, but I realize how this is super important. Not only to some people don't bother putting sources. They only throw in the artwork and vanish. There's a very big Telegram channel called Wolverine's Dudes. The guy there does not credits any of the artists in the channel, so it's really important if you are an artist to go and sign your work. Make sure it's signed, and in case he posts your work there randomly and does not credits you, at least people who see your artwork will see there, this is the person who did it, so I know what to look for now, instead of not having even a single name. So if you're an artist, do sign your work. It's a good practice altogether. If you fear that people might quote-unquote steal your art. And this is it. The commission is done. Now let's save this file and let's see how gigantically, humongously huge the file size is gonna be. Let's save as Able Knight. Okay, so this picture is 6,150 pixels wide by 4,000 pixels high. According to Clip Studio Paint, the file size is going to be about, it's still loading, 20 megabytes. That's a big ass size. But then again, I really overdid myself this time. I think this is the most detailed artwork I have ever done before. Like, it's incredibly big compared to other things I've done before. I think that so far the biggest picture I have ever done was about 6-7 megabytes in size. This one though, it's 20 megabytes, so it's big. It's big. Only put Doug was here on your artwork. It is even worth your signature. Well, do sign up everything you do. It's important. And now let's save a smaller version of this. Also references, I don't think I'm gonna save this, the references files, mostly because of the whole the dragon whatever alphabet thing going on. It's useful. Let's go here back to files. Let's open the file again, but only the picture version of it. There we go. So, shit. There's no more layers, there's just the picture itself. Now let's change the size, the image resolution to 1500 pixels. Okay, so it's a smaller now. It's a different picture, by the way. It's a different file. So if you look at this big size, okay, you can still see things, but if you zoom in, most details are lost. Now, all of these delicious details we had in the full version size are lost and pixelized. But why am I doing this, you might ask yourself? Because I need to save a version, a small quality, standard small quality version to post online. And this one is only 1 megabyte, 1.5 megabyte file size. Ah, hooray, we're done. Lovely. Lots of love. Okay, so we still have 1.5 hours of stream left. And Remy, I hope you're happy with how the commission turned out. I'll be sending you the files later on Telegram. And then you can post it wherever, and I'll also be posting it later today. But right now, since we still have time to do all those all those fun, cool things, let's work on something else, such as this week's comic page. We have time, so let's work on it. Start working on it, rather. Which, by the way, I have no idea what I'm gonna be doing. But this is an incognito something as of yet. But let's call this first layer sketch, because we all love to have a sketch layer. Let's call this art, let's call this sketch. Let's put this folder here and this file in here. Okay, now everything is organized, just like I like it. Let's save these as comics, NPS stories, part 3, CSP 01. It's the page business. And Bone says more details. But that's the thing, though. You gotta do your best. You gotta really do the most you can. That's the only way you'll be able to live with yourself if you're an artist. Unless you really don't care, then sure, do whatever. But if you care about being an artist, an illustrator, then yeah, you want to do the best of yourself. And Oni FA hates big detailed art. Actually does. The size I've saved, 1500 pixels, is even bigger than Fur Affinity allows. The biggest size Fur Affinity allows for submissions is 1280 pixels wide or tall. Anything bigger than that, and it uses its own algorithms to reduce the size of the files. Which is bonkers, because if you want to submit something bigger than that, you can simply submit the thing, then go back and edit the file and submit it again, and it'll overwrite the file size reduction thing, which is kind of retarded, but sure, that's how Fur Affinity works. So for this new page of the comic, I had some things in mind for what I want to do, but I don't know exactly how I'm gonna do it, them, those. So for right now, I'm gonna simply throw in some divisions here and there. Then we can start working on those. Remy, you love it. Thank you. Ah, thank you. I'm glad you liked it. And once again, as has become my norm, sorry for taking so awfully long to do it. I hope you I hope the waiting wasn't too excruciatingly long for you. And on it says lines. I don't know what you mean, but sure. And Bones, there's some movement for artists to shift from FA. You called your shot, though, that in order for artists to shift, customers need to do as well. And yeah. Theoretically, Fur Affinity is super archaic in the way it works. The systems in place, the everything in there, it's super archaic, and it isn't the best for artists. Me, for example, I post comics, and there's no system in place to make comic navigation easier. So if somebody is reading a comic of mine on Fur Affinity, they are fucked, because there's no easy way to go to the next page or previous page or whatever. They are limited to the way the system works. That's why a lot of people go to U18 to read comics there, because from what I have heard, it's better, because it loads the whole comic in a single internet page, so all you need to do is keep scrolling down. Despite other things, there are so many other things that Fur Affinity is super bad at, like uploading anything that isn't visual art, illustrations per se. If you wanna upload animations, video, whatever, the support for those are awful in Fur Affinity. So theoretically, yeah, the idea is that people should move away from it, but alas, it is by far the easiest furry site for you to find online. It is also the one with the broadest amount of people using. So it is by far the easiest place to find other people. And nobody wants to be in the coolest place on earth if it's empty as heck. You wanna be with other people, so that's why people go to FA. So what other sites need to do to topple FA is become the default go-to furry site out there. And the only way to do that is by rigging the search engines, pretty much. That's so if somebody searches the internet for, I don't know, furry art, furry persona, furry whatever, you need to make sure that the first site they are gonna find is yours, and not Fur Affinity. And that also includes going to other places that redirects people to furry sites, like, say, I don't know, the Wikipedia article on furry. Probably the first thing it mentions is Fur Affinity, as far as furry gallery sites go. Like, all the way in the bottom, you can find more information and more links to other places. Probably the first one is to Fur Affinity. If not the first, then one of the first few. And not only that, but like you said, Bones, many folks are rooted there because they have spent years and years and years putting content there, meeting people, exchanging notes, favoriting a shitload of work. So it is theoretically easier for artists to move because our artists are always moving, so they already have the the mindset of, you know what, I'm gonna spend a whole weekend re-uploading my things on other sites, moving my galleries, my collections and whatnot. People who are not artists, the customers, the people who are not so dependent of Furfinity as a tool for publicizing the work, people who post things there because they like, they're normally not as familiar with this whole shenanigan of uploading things through sites. So I feel like they're less prone to want to move from one site to another. However, as of late, Twitter and Tumblr have become awesome substitutes for those. Mostly because nowadays it's much easier to connect to other people through Twitter. Because Furfinity is kinda when it comes to networking. Actually, most furry sites are still very iffy and not very intuitive on networking with other people. Twitter though, people are posting things there all day, every day, and not only about art. They're posting personal life updates like, I brushed my teeth today, or something. It's much easier for people to connect when there's more opportunities available than in a place where people only post art. So artists who want to connect, they end up going to Twitter, and artists who want to not be dependent on a site to publicize their art and whatnot ends up going to Tumblr. Because Tumblr works great as a gallery. Actually, I don't even know what I'm doing here. I was supposed to be drawing these two characters, but I have no basis, no starting point from where to go. Normally I would have, but now I don't, which really screws me over. But yeah, Bones, you're right. About there being artists moving away from Furfinity, but it's not something that it's easy to do, and neither something that will be done within the next couple of years. It will take some time for other sites to gain momentum and whatnot. In fact, I don't even think that a furry site is going to become the norm eventually. I feel like people will end up using Twitter or Tumblr or whatever. That what makes the most sense to me, truly. But anyway, this is awkward. I don't know how to proceed with this drawing here. Theoretically, I should be drawing these people doing whatever for the comic. But I can't really focus on it. This is what really screws me up though, when working with comics and trying to do things like this without a previous sketch or layout, is that it's really hard to work when you know you have constraints. Like, I know I have to try and keep on this line and I shouldn't overstep these boundaries here. It's really tough when you have these conditions though. Okay, this looks awful. Maybe today is not the day to work on the comic as of yet. Maybe I should go and do some warm-up sketches, even though theoretically I've been doing nothing but drawing this whole time. Theoretically I didn't draw a single thing, it was only a painting. Or I could try to make up some warm-up sketches by, well, working up on other commissions I have to do. Problem is, none of which have descriptions. All of them are simply people who gave me their names and said, hey, when you're free let me know and I will want a commission done by you. So I have a lot of names here in my waiting list, but I don't have any descriptions, references, or anything. So what in the world should I do as far as artwork goes? Maybe I'll just go to draw whatever. So, do any of you have suggestions? I'm gonna do some random drawings here. Try and make some random drawings. So, if you guys have any suggestions, do let me know. Let me hear them. Bones asked suggestions. Are you blocked, man? Yeah. Unfortunately, that happens very, very frequently. Theoretically, I'm always, in every single day, facing some ridiculous art block. The only reason why I keep drawing is because I force myself to draw. I draw some humans, why not? So I force myself to draw because I quote-unquote promised on Patreon that I would have one page done per week. So I spent the whole week gathering strengths to get to work on the comic page, but as the deadline of Friday comes nearer, the pressure of not delivering becomes so big that something turns on inside my brain and makes, hey, you know what, that art block we had, maybe I can ignore it for an hour or two as you work on your things. So having a deadline is an awesome way of forcing yourself out of art blocks. But still, it's not super healthy in the least. But it works, and in this crazy world of doing art, sometimes you just have to go for what works, and not necessarily for what's best. At least on the short term, not on the long term. On the long term, that's an awful idea to have, so don't do that, kids. Let's see, this doesn't look good. Let's try something else. Let's use another brush either as well. This one. And let's there's my go-to. This is one of my go-to characters. There's these characters I never used in comics and stories or anything. They're my go-to characters that I draw whenever I have a block or something like that. It kind of helps me keep in mind what they're like, how they're supposed to look like, how they work. Because it's a character I never got to use around in any comics or stories. It's a character I'm super excited to draw every single time because of how much potential they have. So I keep drawing them and thinking, wow, wouldn't it be awesome if there was a story about these or that, and they were the protagonist, and just assortments of cool things happened with them. And getting excited about drawing is one of the many ways of fighting yourself out of an art block. This fucking nose though. Yeah, if you guys have any suggestions of things that make you draw, themes or situations or whatever, I might try it. Do let me know. But what if this isn't the best contempt face you've ever seen in your life? Maybe I can improve this face by having the character look down instead of the head. And raise the character's eyebrows a little bit as well. Maybe this eye here is a tad too far away from the other one. So many things could be the problem when it comes to this though. Okay, so I guess now this is the point where we decide the hairstyle for this character, which looks very androgynous and stuff now, as of yet. Which is kind of bad because I kind of wanted this character to be a woman. Maybe I did F up a little bit somewhere. Huh. Let's think of non-conventional hairstyles for girls. Let's some pushed back sort of hairstyle. People are big on those. But instead of doing just that, let's also have some braid action going on here. And I guess rest of the head is kinda shaved. There's a very short hair. I don't know what kind of hairstyle this is, but it's supposed to look super edgy, and I think it does. I think this mouth might be a little too much to the side. Okay, this character might not be the coolest looking character ever, but it's something, I suppose. Bones look like it could be an Avatar character. Do you mean the animated cartoon? Or the Blue People movie from 2009-ish. Bones says a firebender. Maybe, who knows? Could be some sort of super mad, radical firebender. Sort of. Kind of character.
Damage was here.
Oh no! Get some damage. Thank you so very much for the bits and welcome to the stream. How are you doing today in this lovely day? Okay, so if she is going to be a firebender, probably of the well, of the possibly psychotic kind, And we need some references. Something else going on here. It's like high collared clothing. And maybe some on top of it all. On top of all of it all, some cool sassy pose of someone who's about to be very chaotic and throw and be super hectic in what they do and how they behave. She could be holding on to something, or she could be doing some other crazy shenanigans with her hand. What do you guys think? Let me know. So I feel she would also have some long trench coat, sort of get up, because why not? Maybe our elbow should be a little bit higher. Yes. Maybe your arm needs to be better drawn, miss. Maybe that's the problem here. Oh man. Oh man, oh man, oh man. Just imagine now though, this whole Avatar Firebender universe, but kind of futuristic, kind of like Ghost in the Shell future. Let's throw in some crazy clothing option for her. So this cyberpunkish trench coat. Let's make this super crazy. Well, we are gonna be making this crazy all over the place. And Oni, you're back, taking a break from being in the sun too much. Yeah, being in the sun is awesome, but being in the sun too much can lead to cancer, so be careful. And Joshua Grubb says hi. Hello to you too, Joshua. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing today?